good to remind Mary of.
All righty, we'll call this meeting to order. If you would, Madam Clerk, take roll call.
All right, Mr. Braun.
Present.
Mr. Combs. Here. Ms. Nelson.
Present.
Ms. Reclue. Mr. Simmons.
Here.
Mr. Stone. Mr. Washington.
Here.
And Mr. West.
Here.
6 council members present, 2 absent.
And at this time, Pastor Williamson is here to do our invocation.
Let's pray together. Dear Lord, I'm grateful for the blessings of this day and to keep first things first in order. I want to ask your hedge of protection and blessing on these next 48 hours here in the heartland. I saw our city workers pouring concrete at 6 a.m. this morning in my neighborhood, indicating the duration of this heat and how intense it is. And I pray, Lord, for all who serve this city on the ground, including our firefighters and police officers and all of those who work on and update our infrastructures and keep our city utilities running in a time of high stress, demand for energy. Thank you, Lord, for those who are faithful to keep us all comfortable in times such as these and allow our community to progress forward. My other prayer is, and it affects us all, is for the farmers in the heartland. If the farmers prosper and do well, all of us who live in this community and in every community prospers as well. We ask you, Lord, to bring to them and for them a rain on their soybeans and corn, on their pastures and fields, gardens, and all areas that sustain us as your people. And I pray, Lord, if you find favor with that, that you bring that rain as soon as you see it in your will. I'm grateful, Lord, for those who lead this city, our mayor and council persons, our administrators, and those that lead departments that serve this city. And I'm grateful, Lord, for their diligence to the work that is a blessing to all of us. May they continue, Lord, to be faithful and good stewards of the work that you've assigned them. For this session tonight, and for those from the community that will be here to share as well, I've often said in this prayer, we're all better and stronger, and our community moves forward together when the community participates in our government. Thank you, Lord, for those that take the time to come and to share. I lift up those connected to our city families who need your daily maintenance and care physically. Chief Kofeld's father would be on that list, and there are others innumerable. I may not mention a name, but I cover their needs in this prayer. I pray for this session tonight, and I ask you, Lord, for all things that are discussed and any decisions that are made, that they first meet your approval and be pleasing to you. We thank you for your love and for your grace and for your constant watch, care, and help for each of us. We pray this with one voice in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Face the flag. Attention, salute, and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Privilege, sir.
All right, we got comments from visitors now. If you wish to speak to the council, just step to the podium, give us your name and address, and limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. And seeing no one come forward, we'll move on. Consent agenda. Council members may choose to remove an item for discussion prior to approving the agenda. Tonight we do have 4 items to approve: the council meeting minutes of June 22nd, minutes of July 13th, the approval of the DOA report of June, and the appointment of Rick Shiverdecker to the Park Board for a 3-year term. And I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I would like to remove the Director of Administration report. from the consent agenda. Then I'll make a motion to approve the remainder of it.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
And opposed, no. And Councilman West.
Okay, this is in the Parks Rec section, I'm not sure what page 6. At several points it makes, there's notes made that we're having trouble with hiring applicants, low staff, umpires, etc. But the last bullet under Parks and Facility Maintenance says, dealing with and cleaning up trash, syringes, needles, alcohol bottles, etc. are left by homeless people sleeping, staying in restrooms and ball field dugouts at various parks. Is there any proactive actions we can take to, I know we're not going to eliminate it completely, but mitigate it some?
Yeah, we're having a lot of problems with it. You know, we contact the police. They deal with it quite a bit. Mainly down at Hensley, Truman, Memorial. We get a lot of homeless people sleeping in the bathrooms, sleeping in the dugouts, leaving a lot of trash, broken beer bottles, whiskey bottles, some syringes, things like that. We always go through and clean it up, but it's a challenge and it's getting worse.
Sure. Is there, I mean, get away from the enforcement part, which there's a part of me that's there, but is there any way we can direct them to the homeless shelters, or they don't want to go there because of the alcohol and the drug use and that sort of thing? I mean, you may not know the answer to that question. I don't know.
I don't know if I know the answer.
I mean, do we try to direct them, or do we have any contact with them, or we just find their remnants of the?
Sometimes we have contact with them, you know, depending on what's going on during the day. Sometimes they're sleeping there during the day. A lot of times it's at night.
Sure.
So I personally, I think they're aware of the resources available.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are, but I mean, that might be a better question for Chief Myers.
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure how to deal with
A
it.
little break area we got right down here, just under us.
Uh-huh.
We had someone take shelter there, they're sleeping when we show up for work in the morning.
Right. I mean, I empathize with it, but I don't know what we can do to address the issue.
It's not unique to Fulton, I can tell you.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah,
It's a problem that there's not a lot of good answers.
yeah. And then I also wanted to notice the golf course did pretty well. 9 days of rain certainly didn't help there at all, but okay, that's the only ones. Oh, one other thing. I got to find the page. Sorry. Sorry. On page 28, there's 3 litigations mentioned that I'd like to have a briefing on sometime. I know we don't want to do that in open session, but I'd like to have a briefing on those sometime. Then I was wondering, Mr. Dunlap included quite a bit of information in here about what we're seeing for utilities. Do you want to share anything with the?
I think he's gonna come up under when we get to the natural gas item on the agenda.
And that's fine too. Okay,
That's our plan.
that's all I had.
Very good. Anyone else have questions on the DOA report? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Sorry,
Oh,
just
sorry.
one moment. We don't have a motion just yet.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve the administration's report.
Thank you, Courtney.
No problem.
Thank you. All righty. Now, any other discussion? All those in favor say yes.
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 Opposed, no. Very good. Next up, we'll have the presentation of our June financial report. Ms. Forsythe.
Well, I'll start off by telling you we have 5 months of sales tax recorded so far, and we are currently up 9%. So that's come down from a high of 12%, and it's probably within the next 2 months we'll get closer to a true picture. we compare with 2020, because 2020 sales tax were actually greater than 2019. So it would be misleading for me to compare with the prior year.
Excuse me, can we ask Darren if he could possibly turn it up a little? Darren, can you turn it up a little bit, please? Because I can't barely hear it.
Can you
And
hear me now?
It's not just you,
Oh,
Kathy.
okay.
It was down, it was Mike and everybody. So the first thing, thank you.
Pull it up a little.
Jason, can you hear me now? Is it better?
Just-
I'm almost eating the mic.
Just talk louder.
Okay, I raised my voice,
Thank you.
as if I were in U-board. How's
Well,
that?
I thought Darren was trying to turn it up a little bit as well, but, okay, let's go.
Am I ready? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
That's better.
Okay. So I hope I've covered everything in the notes. I will tell you that our largest amount of capital outlay in June was the sewer plant, and that is because we encumbered, what, $127,000 for Second Street, $148 for 10th Street, and we also expensed $203,000 for plant maintenance. So I think they had a total capital outlay of $485,000. And we have budgeted $800,000 to be transferred from the capital improvement sales tax, which I've not yet done. Probably will do in this month. Health is in the black, month to date, year to date. And I'll answer any questions you have.
Kathy, do you remember what our year-to-date was percentage-wise over 19 on sales tax?
2 point something. Can't tell you for sure.
Over 2, though.
Over 2, yes.
Kind of hovered there most of the year, didn't it?
Well, quarterly reporting, it goes up and then it goes down. But yeah, it stayed pretty close at the end of the year.
So-
Yes, Mark.
Go ahead.
The sales tax that you mentioned, does that include any use
No,
tax we
use
get?
tax is a separate line item.
Okay.
That is
So-
only the 2.5% sales tax.
Okay. So we don't get, do we have a report on any use tax? Are we getting anything from internet sales, that sort of thing?
I have yet to go through line by line. The reports I get from Missouri DNR have thousands of line entries. The use tax started last October?
October.
Yeah, so I can't really give a year-to-date comparison on that. I'd be happy to tell you what it's been running. But I think it was 48,000, one month it was 50,000, this last month it was 25.
Okay.
So
So it's the
I
same,
have
it's
yet to see a pattern or a trend.
yeah, it's the same 2.5% rate, right? As our
Yes.
sales tax, so,
Yes.
okay.
But I think the volume is definitely higher than projected, I think.
Yes.
That's fair to say, right?
Yes, the projection is that it will bring in much more than what MML had originally thought it would.
Yeah, we'll see like what October, November, December are like with the holidays, right?
And maybe even a whole nother like a regular year would be good to.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And probably,
Baseline.
next year, once we have a year under our belts, we can do a comparison.
Okay, thank you.
So,
The general fund negative year-to-date, the $670,000, that's gonna be taken care of when you transfer the money, the capital improvements?
No, the capital improvement money will go to the sewer fund.
Okay,
Yes. However, a loss at this time of year is not unanticipated in the general fund because we have lots of revenues that we will not even, that will hit that fund, that we will not receive until the first 60 days of 2022.
Property tax.
Yeah, 2 months' worth of sales tax, property tax, all kinds of
Okay.
things like that.
but so the projected monies that we anticipate getting will cover this negative revenue. Is that a fair statement? Or are
Well,
we gonna?
it's a loss. It's not a
Or-
negative revenue. Yeah, it's a
Well,
loss.
okay, I didn't wanna say loss, but,
Well,
okay.
The
I would I would
If
hope.
not, it'll come off a close.
Yeah, I mean, it typically does. That's the best thing. I don't have a crystal ball that I can tell you what these numbers are gonna be.
I
but-
know when we made the budget up back at the end of 2020, it was pretty close.
It's pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty close,
Okay.
so. But it's not unheard of. I did not freak out when I saw
Okay.
that, so.
All right, any other questions for Kathy? And I would entertain, do we have a motion? on that?
Motion to approve the
Financial
financial
report.
report that's written.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. All righty, thank you. All right, next up, smart grid update. Here we go.
There was information in your DOA report. Should have 2 pages with some circle graphs on them. Some of the council wanted more raw numbers, so I think these should satisfy that. You'll see the top box, it says 2 net meter status. The single phase meters, you got 3,692 reporting, 448 not reporting. On the polyphase or your 3-phase meters, you got 336 reporting, 15 not. On the gas, you have 1,586 in the field, all of them are reporting. And the water, you got 1,327, there's 151 reporting. And then we have a different brand of electric meter, it's not a disconnect meter for single phase. Of those 430 reporting, 10 non-reporting. And the second page, the WAN gateway status, is what we've traditionally called in this meeting shark fins. So that is the communication devices that take the area readings and send them to the water tanks. And those are their readings. Kathy has successfully built 1 route, and she did a test pull on 2 more routes. So hopefully next month we'll be building 3 routes. And we got the IT guys back at their IT job in utilities. We hope this will actually speed up some. So the outlook right now is actually pretty good.
Looks
So
pretty good.
Daryl, am I fair, just looking at the totals, not looking at the 2 breakouts? About 10% of the meter status, granted it's not exactly, but it's very close to 10%, is not reporting.
Correct.
And 5% of the breakdown of the 3 different meters, is that right?
You're probably pretty close. And remember, this is one snapshot in time. If we have a large rain event, the water meter reporting is going to drop till those water meter pits aren't full of water. This was pulled a couple days before the board packet was put together. And this, we're still doing it by route because we still do have a database problem. I mean, these meters are reporting, but that doesn't mean that the radio number in that meter matches that meter in billing. So that's why we're still walking the routes.
Okay.
And what, you think we've got 10% of the database fixed that Kathy can bill against? Is that?
Probably that's a fair number, 10% of the ones.
Probably
that's out
getting
there.
close.
Probably getting close.
Okay.
And some of these shark fins, you see some of them's not reporting. Some of them could be because we robbed some of them to
Right.
make some other areas work.
But the customer doesn't know any different. We're still getting their meters read in a timely manner. But thanks for the update, appreciate it. All right. We'll move on to our Replex alcohol policy update,
Actually, just a facility update.
or the facility, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yep,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Everything's going pretty good over at Legends. For the month of June, we averaged about 43 visitors a day for a total of about 1,300 visitors. Looking at July numbers, I think they're gonna beat that. At the end of June, we had 101 memberships, and that's been steadily growing throughout July. We've been pretty busy working on the program schedule, trying to get all the details worked out with that. Looks like we're gonna have about 20 to 25 new programs over the next 5 to 6 months inside Legends. So we're excited about that. Again, it's just a lot of busy work trying to get all the logistics and everything worked out so we can get the programs going. And been working through a few maintenance issues, still having some trouble with the air conditioning units, doing some strange things. We've had lots of people in looking at it. So we're kind of battling that right now. We had our second basketball backboard break and shatter. So we've been talking to the company about coming in and looking at that. Probably gonna have them look at all of them and just make sure they haven't done something wrong or.
That's a real big concern.
Yeah, because it's the same. Again, I looked at it in the morning. About 3 hours later, we hadn't had a lot of visitors during that time, and the backboard was shattered. So
Did it drop a bunch of glass down when it broke?
not a lot. The majority of the glass is still intact. There was some, and the staff went through. We swept it up, vacuumed it up, and made sure it's still not on the floor.
But this is not shattering from people grabbing on the rim like you see in
No, and
TV.
again, I was in that room and I looked at it, and when I went back down there about 3 hours later, it was easily noticeable. So,
The NBA wasn't in practice.
yeah,
Wasn't running practice on it before they were making their trip to east to west coast.
yeah. And our expectation is, that they should be a little more durable than that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So, and the first one happened when it wasn't even in use. It was raised to the ceiling. So, we're thinking maybe it's an installation issue or something like that.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Clay, how many memberships were you hoping for?
I think we need to be around 400 or 500 in that area. So,
We're about like 25% to where you want to be. Okay.
yeah, like I said, I think it's a tough time to try to get memberships for an indoor facility
Right.
with it being hot and summer activities going on. But I think we'll see an increase over the next 2 or 3 months.
Thank you.
And if you have a current membership at a different facility, you're not gonna go out and get another one.
Right.
You're gonna let the current facility membership expire before you do too much looking and re-signing. So I think I think it'll be hopefully a steady increase over the next several months.
Yeah.
No, I was just curious if we were, 10% there or 90% there, or we're about 20, 25% there. That's,
I hope we're about 1% to where we end up being. So I hope it grows and grows and grows, and we're going to be working on a lot of incentives and doing some membership drives and things like that. But a lot of it, I've said this before. I don't think the facility can sustain itself just on memberships.
Right.
We have to get people in there. We have to get programs and events, and that's our goal.
okay. Thank you.
Hey Clay, for the senior citizens, some of the seniors are getting from AARP or something like that, and they're getting for health situations, they're getting their membership paid for. Is that something, a program that we can look into?
Yeah, and in fact, we have a meeting later this week where I actually kind of back and forth with 2 different organizations trying to get something locked down. And I think there's going to be some opportunities, not just for the 65 plus crowd. I think there's going to be some opportunities for the 18 to 65 crowd also, where we can do some incentives and work with different health insurance companies.
I ran into some seniors and they were sharing that with me. They said,
Yeah,
what's it paid for ours? So,
that's our goal, to get those programs in place, and we're working on those.
thank you.
Clay, I know I've gotten a lot of feedback as to, like, what's going on at the Replex. And I've seen in there where you said you gotta start advertising a little more. That's definitely something people need to know, is what's going on, what programs are gonna be offered, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
we definitely need to concentrate on that.
Yeah, it is. That's our daily concentration. Like I said, it's just getting everything organized with the programs, finding instructors, setting the schedule, making sure we got the equipment, things like that. So those things got to be worked out before you can put it out there. But If anybody's wondering what's going on, have them stop by and see us.
Okay.
Well, but yeah, we do plan to do a lot more advertising, a lot more promotion here in the next month or so.
Very good.
Well, I see you've got a lot in the DOA report of things that you're doing. So I don't see any mention of social media. Does it have a Facebook page or Instagram or any of those sort of things that I don't know much
It does
about?
not have its own right now. Right now, we're pushing it through the Fulton Parks and Rec.
Okay, so you might consider
Facebook.
that,
Okay.
just, I think those are cheap. I don't think they cost us anything, but, just whatever we can do to get it out there as cheaply as possible, I'll say it straight
Yeah,
out.
I agree. I think social media is going to be a big resource for us.
Right.
Well, I like to see a local paper come back for a daily paper in Fulton. I don't like the internet stuff. I like picking up that paper.
I
and
won't
reading.
argue with you, Mr. Washington, but it is what it is,
Well, I think it's fair to say you guys got your feet on the ground now and can kind of take a breath and start really
Yeah.
focusing on pushing that
Yeah,
marketing
and
part of it.
I agree. That's the thing. We're kind of starting to settle in, and
Y'all
everybody's.
had a brand new, I mean, you changed offices, moved from City Hall over there. There was a lot going on the
Yeah.
last couple months.
Yeah, and we have a lot of new policies and procedures, and just trying to make sure we got about 15 part-time staff, just making sure they understand and what's going on, and make sure they're communicating to the public what's going on. So, it's been a challenge. It's been a lot of work, but we are starting to settle in.
Cool.
Somebody else? How's the internet working? The internet,
The internet at the Legends,
yeah, still a challenge?
for about an hour today, it wasn't working at all.
Okay.
But I don't know what's going on with it, but for the most part, it's been pretty good. Like I said, every once in a while, we'll have a blackout,
All right.
and we don't have it, but I think we're doing pretty good.
I've never missed it, I'll put it that way. I like not having it.
Hey Clay, is there any future rental for the banquet hall? Anybody's starting to rent that?
We've had a lot of inquiries. We have a few people come by and tour it. So I think that's a big thing. We want to get that going. Darren's working on a promotional brochure. He's almost got that finished. We've been talking to some radio stations about doing some radio advertising in Central Missouri. So we're going to make a big push to try to get that rented out.
It's a nice facility. All right. Is everybody good with that? We'll move on to the alcohol policy. Like you've added,
Yeah, the policy, it's similar to what I submitted last time. I've highlighted the change. Robert talked to Myrma. Myrma basically says that if you're bringing alcohol, we do not have to require liability insurance. But if you're selling or serving alcohol like a caterer, then we do require that you provide liability insurance. So that's the only change. Another issue Mr. Braun and I talked about a little bit earlier today. He had the question about whether or not what that would do with the Coca-Cola agreement. So I followed up with Coca-Cola, and basically if we had a caterer there and they were serving mixed drinks and using soda products, they would have to buy those products from us. So that, we just kind of clarified that with Coca-Cola, make sure somebody didn't bring Pepsi or some other different soda in. So we would just have to communicate that with whoever's.
Guess it's gonna have to be pineapple juice for me.
Yeah, I don't do Coke.
do you have like
Or
a,
straight, you can take it straight.
do you have like a brochure or a
Smuggle it in.
checklist for people that are gonna be renting the facility?
We do.
Where you would be able to know that you're telling folks all those little things?
Yeah,
You
and
know what I mean?
yeah, we do. And again, the brochure is going to communicate some of it, but again, we want people there. We're going to sit down with you. There's a whole reservation form, and again, it has kind of a checklist on it where you go through the items and you make sure everybody understands what's going on. So before money changes hands, they'll have a good idea of what the requirements are.
Good deal.
So, one question, on the bottom of this proposed policy, it says hours of operation, weekdays and Saturdays. No Sundays?
That's according to the consumption license that we would have to purchase. We would not be able to allow that on Sundays. Courtney, was that your understanding of that? I know you've looked into it a little bit.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been a little while since I've looked into that, and I know that the governor has signed some legislation with some Sunday sales and things like that. This isn't a sale, obviously, but, before I could tell you definitively, I would need to look into it again.
Yeah, and I don't know why they don't include Sundays. I don't.
Right.
I don't know why.
Don't either.
That is just the way state liquor laws are set up that way. Sunday is a separate item, and it's been that way since the dawn of time.
But if the council's agreeable and it's determined that Sunday's okay, we can always include it.
Not if it's not
If-
allowed in
if
the
it's
license.
not- Yeah, if the license
Is
doesn't
it-
cover
But
it,
if the license,
if the consumption license would allow for it, so if for some
Right.
reason Clay's information's not correct, then yes.
So we have more things to look at for this policy.
I think we can clarify that pretty easily.
Okay.
You can always change it.
I mean, that's copy and pasted straight from the state website.
Website.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's their
It's just
description.
surprising. I would think that a lot of people would want to have stuff on Sundays. So,
We're selling a weeknight.
So just a question that I have, we're worked on a rental agreement for the space, and we've asked, we got an idea what that rental agreement is gonna be. Have we presented that to Mr. Riley to take a look at
But
all?
we have not.
no.
Would that be something that would make sense to ask legal counsel that we're covered on both sides?
We could, but it's probably just, we can. It's probably just pretty much a standard rental agreement, and they're gonna be responsible to provide, so, but we can do that.
I think we should.
I think it makes sense. I mean, if anybody else disagrees.
Wouldn't be more than an hour of his time to read it and probably
Yeah.
give us an okay stamp of approval.
Yeah, we can, it's done, it's 99% complete unless there's any changes, but, yeah, I think we can get that to them and let them look at it.
I have another question on the Coca-Cola products. We're allowing people to bring in their own liquor, correct?
Correct.
And are we allowing people to also bring in their own beverages? Or are we only selling the beverages?
The agreement reads, if you bring it in for your own consumption, for your own personal use, you can bring in any type of beverage you want. It can be a Pepsi product.
Okay,
If we sell it, distribute it, pour it, serve it, however
right,
it happens, it has to be a Coca-Cola product.
got it.
Bought through
I'm
us.
just gonna ask you what I didn't hear you say. So, but if it's, you did say it earlier, if it's sold, it has to be a Coke product purchased from us.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And that brings into if a caterer comes in and they are selling or they are serving, serving's another key issue in there. If they're selling or serving a mixed drink that has a soda product in it, they have to purchase it from us, and it has to be a Coca-Cola product. And right now, our agreement only discusses 20-ounce bottles. It only includes 20-ounce bottles, but we could sell them 2-liter bottles or cans if the caterer had a preference.
Could we potentially look at a fountain for the banquet center, just for the banquet center?
We could. I mean, we have a fountain at Tanglewood. We have a fountain. We don't have a fountain at the pool anymore.
Because
We
I would
used to.
like to see the cost as
Yeah.
low as feasibly
Yeah.
possible, and that is one way to drop your cost to anybody is having a fountain.
Yeah, and Coca-Cola will probably provide us that. The big thing is you got to move a large quantity, and you got to move it on a regular basis, or the syrup gets bad, and you got to kind of move the fountain drink quicker than you do.
And the daily cleaning of the fountain.
Yeah, and then there's daily cleaning and things like that. So there's probably more money to be made.
I'm not looking, my thing is they don't wanna see us, because we have set pricing, and what we did for for a few newer ones and maybe even Mike that wasn't aware, we took a $14,000, what'd you say, gift?
Donation.
Incentive
Yeah.
from Coca-Cola to be exclusive. And so when we did that, then we've set pricing on what we're purchasing for. I don't want to see us price ourselves out of a vendor that would be coming in for somebody else. You know, we got somebody that wants to rent it, but they want to bring their caterer in, and I don't want to price ourselves out because we have to sell sodas for, I'm just going to use the number, I don't know that this is right, $1 a bottle, because that's what our cost or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we're paying 90 cents a bottle. We're not looking to make a killing, but
No.
we can't lose money either. But
I think our goal is obviously we want to make a profit off the concessions. We also get $1,000 a year for each year of the agreement. So we get the 14 plus an additional 1,000 every year. Once we meet a certain threshold of cases sold, the agreement is complete. Then we can renew agreement. We could take it out and we could ask for competing agreements. I know the colleges, at one time, Coca-Cola had an agreement with them. A competitor came along, upped their donation, so they have a different agreement. So I think once we complete this agreement, 4 or 5 years down the road, we could kind of look at several options.
Madam Clerk, I checked the website that I checked the last time we talked about this, and it still does only state Monday through Saturday
Okay,
with those times for the Missouri state license.
thank you.
So,
I checked it the last time, and that's what it's still saying, and that was last updated in May of 2021.
So is that if we sell it, or,
That
I
is.
mean, we don't intend to sell alcohol.
So-
A consumption license allows anyone to bring their own alcohol to that specific site. So we
Okay.
would not be selling alcohol at all, but
Right.
we are required to have a consumption license in order to be legal and have alcohol on the premises.
But the consumption license restricts us on Sunday.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
as of now, because it said May
As of May
21.
of 2021,
There-
it still
There's still
restricts
laws
it.
that are being signed, so who knows, but.
And it's kind of the same way if you get a license to sell it. They'll sell you a license Monday through Saturday, but you'll have to purchase an additional Sunday
Yeah.
license.
Oh.
So,
They just want you to have to jump through an additional hoop to,
Sunday sales.
yeah,
yes.
say it's a
Yeah.
bigger deal.
Actually, Madam Clerk, I found a different spot, and so we'll need to double check it. It may allow 9 AM to midnight on Sunday,
Okay.
but I'm not sure about, that's under businesses who have a liquor sales license, but I'm not sure about the connection directly to the
To the
consumption
consumption.
license that would apply to
Yeah.
banquet hall.
Yeah. Well,
So there may be a distinction there that this license doesn't allow the 9 AM to midnight on Sundays, but somebody will need to look into it more than me and Mr. Google.
We can definitely clarify that, and just from what you're saying, that sounds correct to me, that if you have a caterer's license or retail sales tax license, you would be able to sell the product on a Sunday because you're licensed through the state and through the city to do that. But as far as a consumption license, that's not something that we have the authority to
Right.
allow people to bring it in without that sales aspect.
They can sell it, we just can't drink it.
Right. Just can't give it away.
Just can't,
No, not really. If you're gonna have a Sunday activity, you have to have a third-party vendor.
Correct.
right, but that's what I'm saying, is the license would allow them to consume it.
Mr. West?
So I'm trying to understand a little bit here. If, say there's a wedding and there's an open bar, we're not selling with an open bar, you're serving. So they had to buy the Coke products through us in that case versus one where it's a cash bar where people have to
Yes, they would have to buy the Coke products. through
either
us.
go, either way.
Either way, yeah. If
Okay.
they're serving or selling.
That's
So are
the
we
way that-
going to give them like if a wedding party comes in and they're like, we're gonna buy we're serving drinks and what price can you give us for the amount of, I think that that's going to be really hard to keep track of, for one, and, you know, and if a caterer comes in and they weren't given the correct information and they have their own soda, then what happens? I think that there's a lot of fine print there that we're going to have to really come over.
I think that's just something we have to really make sure that the renter knows what's going on. You know, I think we, on a $1 bottle of soda, I think we have some room to negotiate the price. If somebody's wanting to pay us $1,000, $1,500 for a rental, we can probably negotiate the soda price and get them probably a better deal than they would if they went through the store or something like that.
I'm kind of on with this fountain soda. You know, we could give them you're using our soda, this is the price, you know, and then they can use however much they want instead of having to keep track of each individual bottle that they're using, or only give them a certain amount, and then if they run out, then we have to find a way to get them more. But what if there's nobody to give them more?
Well, we would still have to charge them per bottle or per canister of soda.
Right.
There would be a quantity amount. I mean, so it wouldn't be unlimited. I mean, they might have unlimited access.
I feel like it's a lot harder to go through a canister of fountain soda, though, than it is to go through a case of Coke.
True. And I understand what you're saying. We would still charge them
Right.
either way. I mean,
For sure.
Yeah,
I mean, we could say, okay, you have this whole canister to use at an unlimited amount. You pay for the whole thing at whatever it is, $75, I don't know. And, you know, that's your fee to use this soda. I would have a hard time thinking that they would go through the whole canister of Coke, but they're paying for it at a base price.
Yeah, and I don't know how much they would use, but yeah, I think it's definitely something we'll check into and see if a fountain might be a better option.
Well,
And probably as more things get booked, you'll see more what your needs are gonna be and stuff too.
No.
I'm sorry, Bob.
Oh, that's good. Also, Clay, I believe, as you're right, you can't hold on to those canisters. They will go bad. And so I think if you make a deal with Coca-Cola, whenever time you have a planned event, if one of their trucks in the area will bring a canister, or that person, as you say, will purchase it, that's,
Yeah.
whether they use it all or not.
They'll
have
purchase
it.
the whole
So
thing.
then that way we won't be stuck with trying to buy so many tanks ahead,
Yeah.
and they go bad on us. So that would be the way to go, is see if they would just,
Coke do
on a
that.
call, hey, on this scheduled date, we need 2 canisters.
Yeah,
that way it's
and
not
that could
us.
be done very easily because
Yes.
they deliver weekly, so
Yeah, so that
we
would be.
could do
something
that.
can be
And
done.
like I said, I think it depends on what people want to.
Yes.
Do they want the bottles? Do they want cans? I think we just got to feel that out. Like once we have a few events
I agree.
and see what people really want.
So we're gonna be looking for a motion to approve this, is that what we want?
Yes.
Or
So
do we
moved.
want to get clarification on the operations,
Oh, on
hours
the,
of
on
operations
the day,
before?
the Sunday deal.
I think we
guess
could always cha-
approve it as is, under the assumption that that's gonna be the case, and if it's not, we can fix it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Or wait.
Yeah.
just
Is it
approve it to
time-
be consistent with state statute.
I make a motion, we approve this policy as is, and if we can, have to change it later, this isn't part of the motion, if we have to change it later, we just do another change.
Sure, you don't want to just make it consistent with state law, and then we don't have to change it.
Yeah, do that.
Okay,
I would second that.
You talked us into it.
so what did I just motion?
To approve the policy consistent with state law.
Thank you, for consumption,
That's what Bill said.
We know what you meant, Mike.
yes, absolutely.
All right, I do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
And opposed, no.
No,
You have our count, Madam Clerk?
Yes, I'm sorry, hold on one sec. So I had 1 no and 1 absent, which makes 6 yes.
All right, excellent.
Yep.
No.
All right, we'll move on down to our gas rate discussion. And at this time, we kind of have it to where we could untable the motion. But at this time, I think, Daryl, would you come up, and before we untable it, let's hear it from Daryl.
Okay, I tried to give you all a lot of reading information in the packet, since some of you are new and don't know what MISO and SPP and all those acronyms are. So I sent you some maps
In the DOA.
in the DOA report. And there's two regions. I guess it's important on the electric side to us. One of them is the MISO region because Prairie States.
Page 10?
Page 10? Prairie States is in MISO, so everything that happens in MISO happens to Prairie States. The other region to our west is the Southwest Power Pool, and our hydropower and our Sykeston power comes through SPP.
What is MISO?
It's in the report, man.
Okay.
Mid-Continent Independent System Operator.
The transmission systems and operators turn their systems over to MISO to run and to collect monies from us users and to pay them back to the transmission owner to try to ensure fair pricing to the market of all users of the transmission systems. That's basically what it is. Well, we had our meeting on MISO and got our 6-month update, and energy prices have definitely risen in MISO, about 40%. Where last year gas was king and coal was second, with gas prices going up, that has switched. Coal was 27% last year, and this year it's 36% the first half of the year. And the first half of the year last year, gas was 37% and it dropped to 28%. So, and part of that reason probably goes back to February, starts there. But you're also getting a lot more renewables on the grid. And what you see on these two pages is your wind and your solar. The first one is what wind was predicted to operate the next day. The next one is wind did not run as much as was predicted. So natural gas units had to pick up the slack. That's, as more wind gets on the system, that probably be more prevalent. I mean, you're gonna miss your wind forecast. They're actually pretty good at it, but they are missing it sometimes. SPP, which is the other region that we watch, there's a pie chart on it that shows the generation mix, and coal is also at 48% there, and natural gas is at 35%. Hydro is at 5%, which some of that's ours. So that's kind of where we're at in that market. What we did then was we contacted TEA and said, okay, if the market's up 40%, what's Fulton up? So they came back with what we had placed into the market minus Prairie States, and they didn't know what our Sykeston or SPA bills were. Anyway, we got all that calculated. The one unknown is the June Prairie State, working off an estimate. And just to give you all an idea, that's a $400,000 a month bill, that working off an estimate. But it looks like since our units ran well, and as everybody knows, it's rained a lot in southwest Missouri, and the dams we get our power from is Cannon, Bull Shoals, Table Rock, Greers Ferry, White, North Fork. So those lakes are really full. So we've been getting a lot of supplemental power or dump energy for the last couple of months. So our hit for the first from January through June with that one estimated bill is about $302,000 versus last year. So then since it's budget time, you'll see this little graph in there, or this little chart. This purchasing put this together for us. And as you can see, electric conduit has went up dramatically, 318% on some items. Gas pipe, which Mr. Johnson pointed out during the U-Board meeting, which was high enough to start with, only went up 142%. Waters went up 157%. So we're seeing price increases on basically everything. We're also having problems, as we reported to the utility board Monday, getting people to fix stuff. We had a booster pump bearing went out on well 6. Usually we get 3 vendors bid on that. we only had one vendor that could get parts to supply us a quote to how much it would be. So we're starting to run some of those issues, just people can't commit. August gas, last year, what we bought was $1.81 per decatherm. This August, it's $3.44. If you look at, I've got too many sheets of paper up here, folks. If you look at May, gas in May was $2.46. July it went up to about $3.50, and now in August it's $4.10. We don't know what the trend's going to be. We know that winter gas right now is $4.15, and that's where the U-Board got stuck yesterday. They want to wait, want to look at it again. They moved their meeting next month up a week. So if they do come up with some sort of recommendation, that you folks will have more than a day or two to see what the recommendation is and mull it over. So they're moving their meeting up. I will give you some other good news. Prairie State won't have a scheduled maintenance until fall of '22. So that plant hopefully will be up. It's got a 35-day outage in 22 fall for Unit 2 and a 10-day outage on Unit 1 scheduled. And then the following year, it's got a 35-day outage scheduled for the other unit. So hopefully through these price changes, those two units will stay online. We've got a meeting with Sykeston August 19th at their plant to talk to them. So that's where we're at. The U-Board wanted to, I believe not, Bill and Mr. Ballard can correct me if I state this wrong, but they didn't want to come to you folks and say, hey, we need that 3.5, 5 cent increase, and then be back here in 60 days going, that wasn't enough. The commodity went out of line on us. We need to come back and get some more. So I think that's kind of where we ended up.
I would say exactly. They only want to make one recommendation to the city council on how much to raise. And at this point in time, it's believed that the 3.5 cents it would be adequate for the loan, but it wouldn't be adequate for the increase in the cost of the commodity.
Ms. Hochschlag today took what we could buy the rest of this year's gas that we would need compared to last year's volumes and price. And Kathy, it was around 280,000 more for the final half. And that's based upon the futures market for each month to finish out the year.
I can tell you that I'm all about making sure that we put together a plan moving forward, but to be knee-jerk and reactive, and I appreciate what the U-Board is saying, that they don't want to come back, but we're still not setting anything long-term for 3 years down the road what we're going to do with all the utilities. And costs are going up on a lot of things, but it's also coming back down now. Lumber costs are coming back down. Some of those costs are coming back down, which is a good thing. Will it ever get back where it was? No, it will not. I don't believe it will. But we have to come up with a better strategy looking down the road, not just at what our current needs are. We have to. I think we have to come up with a better strategy.
Darryl?
Sir.
The material costs, like the conduit and all that sort of thing, is it because there's a shortage of it that this is going up, or is it just normal inflation we're seeing? It seems like it's pretty...
A lot of it's shortages. We opened bids and ordered pad mount transformers for like the subdivision you live in, for households in February. We don't have them yet.
And that's usually, for like your subdivision, that's usually an in-stock item.
Yeah.
During the floods, we had the spillway of the wastewater treatment pond. It needs a new pipe. It's blown out. We got one vendor that could deliver us 18-inch pipe.
Wow. I think it's material shortage but probably people shortages too. There's people having trouble even, well, we even talked about it earlier, we can't hire umpires and stuff, so that's probably having some effect too.
Well, Michelle can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe utilities is short 6 people right now.
Yeah, well, that was in the DOA report too. Several different departments are short of people.
You know, we've seen these fluctuations, and I guess about 16 years ago, Mike, you was probably the only one on the council then. Maybe you wasn't even. We adjusted gas rates every month because it kept spiking, and we brought them down just as fast as we could. But you was on the council, Mayor.
And that's,
Had
yeah, I
to
would have
keep
been
up
too.
with the prices.
Yep, we had to keep up with the prices, and we never charged ahead. We always charged, you didn't get a price increase on gas you'd already used, if I remember correctly. But,
Right, that was our goal.
That was
We
our
would- We
goal.
would lower it,
As quick as we could, but we'd hold off raising
but
it.
we would not raise it on anything that had been consumed.
So,
Should we,
at
should
that
we,
time, we was floating on the reserve then to take try to get the swings out of it.
yeah, should we consider for something like this, of course, I guess it's not gonna only affect gas, it's gonna affect electric prices too, like a fuel adjustment or something like that, that we would do month to month or something like that.
There is cities and other places that have a fuel adjustment clause on gas or
Yeah.
electricity, and you have a set rate for your overhead, and then your fuel cost or your commodity cost floats on top of it.
And that makes it tough for the individual,
Absolutely.
to budget, whereas a city can budget that and not feel it.
Correct.
But
So-
that is an option.
Except when it's a 2 million or 3 million, whatever it was in February,
Yeah,
in
Right.
3 days.
yeah.
So if I heard you right, between now at the end and the end of the year, the utility, the gas purchases will be approximately $288,000 more than what we budgeted for. Is that,
More than the last 6 months of last year at last year's volumes.
What was that last word? Last year's what?
Last year's volumes taken,
Volumes.
she took the volume of gas for each month last year, and she took last year's price, then she took this year's market price, and she came to 288,000. Obviously, if you have a very mild winter or whatever, it's gonna change, but based
Right.
upon last year's volumes, that's where she's at.
And last year would have been a pretty normal
It's pretty normal till it wasn't.
February, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And you may not realize, but December is a much smaller gas consumption month historically than January, February. So we're definitely in the short consumption period of the year.
But overall, the picture is we're looking at some increases across the board, probably on a lot of things. That's not just this gas deal, but that maybe in another couple of weeks, we'll have a better picture of what 2022 is gonna look like, and possibly make some tough decisions then about everything all at once. Is that what you're
that's what
kinda
I'm-
getting at?
That's what I'm seeing right now. I think that's where we ended up yesterday. The gas prices, the fuel prices have risen significantly since May. Heather reported IMGA that they're behind on putting it in storage. So, you know, what does that do to your winter gas prices when storage isn't fulfilled back to the 5-year average?
And you know, when you were able to buy gas for $2.50, do you want to put it in storage now that it's $4.10? Or are you going to play the game of, let's wait for it to come back down before we load storage up?
I'm hoping that since Generation switched back to coal somewhat, maybe that'll free up some gas to go into storage. Since that stuff flipped 10%, they reversed.
Well, these cheap gas prices we've been enjoying for the last, 10 years maybe, have affected a lot of things in the utility industry. I mean, it's wiped out a lot of nuclear, as an example.
It has.
So, and then, you know, people converting to solar and wind and that sort of thing, or that's supplemental, but big, I guess, I don't know how much one of those things costs, but a lot of capital costs, but nothing for fuel, right?
Right.
So we're just looking at no action on this item tonight. There might be some update in a couple weeks. There'll definitely be an update in 2 council meetings with recommendations.
And please send our thanks to the U-Board. I know they've been working hard on that.
I think that probably lasted 2.5 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of emotion in it, too.
Yes.
All righty. Thank you, Daryl.
Thank you, Darren.
Okay, we are at new business. Tamara's here. Hey, Tamara. Executive Director for Callaway Chamber of Commerce. She'll be here to present our quarterly update. She got a sidekick.
Yeah, I do. Brought Brianna with me. I'm gonna sit this down here. So thanks for having me this evening to do our second quarter report out. Real quickly, I'm just gonna kind of review for those that are new on the council, kind of our structure at the Callaway Chamber of Commerce. So not only do we have the Callaway Chamber of Commerce, but we also are the Fulton Area Development Foundation as well. So we're actually 2 organizations in one. Callaway Chamber of Commerce and the Fulton Area Development Foundation are sister organizations that work together for our strategic plan, and I'll review that with you guys in just a second. The Chamber mainly focuses on our networking and our marketing for our business community, and the FADF is the economic development entity for our community. But we have one staff that's doing the work for both of those organizations. We also have 2 boards. This is the Chamber Board of Directors. Our president this year is Beth Snyder with One Canoe 2. Our vice president is Jamie A. Strike with Ameren, Missouri, and Kim Barnes is our secretary and treasurer with the Callaway Bank. You can see the other board members that we have. We have an ex officio member from the city of Fulton, and that is Mayor Cannell that sits on our board. 5 of the people that are on this board also sit on the FADF board, so that it just kind of keeps that information flowing back and forth between those boards so that the chamber board knows what the FADF board's doing and vice versa. I said we have one staff that performs the body of work for the Callaway Chamber of Commerce and for the FADF. And we have a new member, and you all know Justice, and you know me very well, but I wanted to take opportunity to introduce Brianna tonight. So Brianna started with us on May 1st, and she is our new small business liaison. She has a passion for small businesses, and she's been very successful in making sure that she is filtering that passion on in a good way. Brianna has years of experience being a small business counselor. She worked at the SBDC at Lincoln University prior to coming to the Callaway Chamber of Commerce. While she was there, she counseled over 50 different clients and hosted dozens of training sessions while she was working there. She also assisted with the Jefferson City Chamber of Commerce pitch competition, so she's very familiar with that, and that will be part of her role. Later on, I will discuss some of the things that Brianna has been working on, but I just wanted to have an opportunity to put a name with the face and have her present for you guys here tonight. So, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. That's fine. So our strategic plan, we have 6 things that we focus on our strategic plan: workforce development, economic development, advanced business excellence through education, and this is focusing on the colleges and K through 12, and that's all over Callaway County. Supporting our entrepreneurs, financial sustainability, and maximizing our operations, and then delivering the value to our members and potential members of the chamber. So after our conversation that we had, I think it was in May, you know, we were listening to what the council really wanted to hear about, and one of the things that you all spoke very strongly about is you wanted to know more about what we were doing for economic development. So I do have that tonight. So far, year to date, since January 1st, we have submitted 11 requests for information to the Missouri Partnership. Those are the individuals that send out opportunities for us to possibly get new industry into our community, and it's filtered through Missouri Partnership for any of those RFIs. If we meet the qualifications for those RFIs, then we make application for them. And we've done that for 11 of those so far this year. Those projects total about $685 million. So not all of the projects do they say it's a capital investment of $70 million or $15 million, but the ones that did say this is how much capital investment it would be, those would total $685 million for those 11 projects. We've also been working with 5 industry businesses that are really non-traditional economic development projects, and those are ones that come to us not from the Missouri Partnership or the Missouri DED, but they just come to our community. On Tuesday, July 13th, we did have a site visit here. We met at the City of Fulton with Bill Johnson and Daryl and Jonathan Mack with the Missouri DED for a potential client to our community. I think it went very well. They gave us a lot of information about their goods and services, what they are going to need, and kind of a projected timeline. I have followed up. They're not ready to come back to us with, their needs as a company, but we will continue to follow up with them in the near future. So year to date, we've had 16 projects on economic development that we've been working. And on June 3rd, I think I told you guys back in March, and that's been a long, long time ago, that Callaway Electric Cooperative got an opportunity for us as the Chamber of Commerce and the City of Fulton to do a mock RFI. And what we did was the company or the consultants, Genevis Consulting Firm is who that was, sent us an RFI. It was just a mock one, and then they took the opportunity to grade us on that. After they did that, then they came to our community for a site visit, and we went through the whole thing as if it was a real client. Now, a lot of people are like, well, that's a mock RFI. What does that do for you? Well, really, it does a lot for us because they are actual consultants, and they had an opportunity to see our community and get a real feel for what we have to offer here. And so that puts us on their radar. Several of you all actually had an opportunity to meet those guests that we had that day, sit and have dinner, have conversation, kind of get some feedback from them on what we needed to do to improve. The RFI that we submitted, we got green marks for the whole thing, so that was fantastic. There was the question, well, if we did so good on RFI, why aren't we getting clients? And really, truthfully, they were kind of scratching their head as well, going, we don't know. So obviously, the right project hasn't come along yet, but when it does, I'm sure we can land it.
Tamara, if I may, is there something that the Missouri Partnership provides back to us, any type of feedback?
From time to time, they do provide us some feedback on the projects that we have submitted, and sometimes they don't.
Okay.
They'll say, hey, there was 27 applications for this project, and the company has narrowed it down to the communities that they want to seek, so thank you for your application. I mean, it may be something just as simple as that. Okay. We have even gotten feedback when we've submitted an RFI that said, we had 150 sites for this project that were submitted. We'll keep you posted on the results. So, once Missouri Partnership collects that, then it goes to like this consultant, Genevis, and they have to look through all of that stuff before they present it to their client. Okay. So there is quite a long process that goes with that.
I guess my hope was maybe that Missouri Partnership would respond back that, okay, your community wasn't chosen because there wasn't enough free acreage available, or there wasn't.
We haven't got any feedback on that.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
That-
that would
and-
be nice. And, you know, and one of the things that they did recommend to us when they were here was, you know, like price of land. Don't put negotiable. Make sure that you put an actual price. Make them have to come back and have conversations with you. So they gave us a lot of really good clues. So I think it went very well that day.
Great.
Lots of little things you learned, I know.
Yeah.
Just,
Yes.
we were talking at dinner.
And if this is the group that's involved in the next few steps, and that's definitely the group that we want to hear from.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. So the next piece, supporting entrepreneurs, and this is our small businesses. Since Brianna has been on board, she has so far visited 40 businesses in our community here, and she is working with 16 businesses currently right now, working on their startup business plans, listings on Google, marketing, QuickBooks, you know, women and minority-owned business certifications, financial analysis. So those are just ideas of things that she is working on. I think out of that, 8 of them are actually business plans, working on those plans to get ready for either pitch competition or just open their business. And also, we have classes scheduled for this fall. There are 4 so far: reaching customers online with Google, startup writing a business plan, getting your local business on Google search and maps, and making your website work for you. So the final piece is just a little bit about the Chamber of Commerce and some of the things that we have on the horizon. This Thursday, we have our Leadership Callaway class reveal. We'll have 11 participants that are going to be participating in that this year. That class reveal will be held at the Chamber from 5 to 6, so please come, mingle, have some snacks, some drinks, and meet the new incoming class. Their class orientation will be in August, and we've got a great class plan for them this year. Our next thing is Teachers Appreciation Breakfast, which is next Thursday, August 5th, starting at 8:30 a.m. I provided you all a card as your invitation. If you just want to come and hang out and say hello and see the teachers and have some breakfast with us, we'd love to have you if you're available. And also ribbon cuttings. So this year, so far, we've done 14 ribbon cuttings. We had the pleasure of doing one at the new Replex, and so we appreciate having that honor to do so. And we're just have a lot of things that we're working on for this year. On my next report, it'll be about, you know, preparing for pitch competition, National Manufacturing Day, and all those other activities. So I will entertain any questions that you may have at this time.
Tamara, first of all, I want to thank you for the job that you're doing. Thank you for supplying this report. Also, I'm glad to hear about how you follow up on our needs. I appreciate that. Also, I was thinking that your team has been doing a great job. Appreciated that. And the other thing I had a question about is how does a person get on the board?
On the Chamber Board of Directors, so there is a nomination process. So if at the September timeframe, the president of the board will select a nominating committee from the Chamber Board of Directors, and they come up with names of people that have maybe inquired about being on the board.
Okay, I've been here in Fulton over 40-something years, and I've never been asked to come on the board or any African Americans or any minorities, unless there have been some. So there are quite a few people that looking to get on a board, and they say, hey, that would be a great board to be a part of.
So they would have to be a chamber member in good standing in order to sit on the board. So
okay, so there is a cost. Okay, you have to
yes,
be
according to our bylaws, yes.
Okay, so somebody got to be a member. Do you have to own a business or anything, or?
If they only hold, and I'm thinking about our bylaws, if they only hold like a Friends of the Chamber membership, they do not qualify to be a board member, but so that makes them have to some sort of business type membership with us.
Oh, okay, so if you're not holding, you're not also, it's
Yeah.
limited.
Yeah.
Okay. just,
If you have any suggestions about how we can get.
well, according to your,
I think that's such a good point. I
Mhm.
would love to explore that some more with you.
at least maybe one of the board members don't have to be a member. I don't know if that's in your bylaws or something like that, just be, have some diversity in that. So I was just curious about how someone come on board and,
I mean, when I got on the board, when I got on the board, I had not been a member of the chamber, and I came through the Show Me Innovation Center and all kinds of stuff. So if there's somebody who has good business connections, who, looks different than all the people that are on the board currently, we can talk to them about becoming
sure.
members.
I just didn't know how to go about it. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll look into it. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Tamara, economic development. You understand why it's important to the city.
Yes, I do.
Since you've been here in town, 7 years? Am I
No.
right?
5.5 years.
Okay. I lost a lot in the last year. I've added time. Of the RFIs that you're aware of, how many of those has Fulton come to even the final consideration for?
So we had a site visit, it's 2018, 2019 timeframe, when they looked at the city of Fulton, 160 acres. Mike,
Look at Dairy Farm, look at this Callaway Electric. Last 4 years? 3 site visits?
probably.
3. Okay. The other one, and I know it may not be in your realm at this point, we started a project out near the hospital.
Yes, Correct Life.
And that project, to my eye, has come to a screeching halt.
Yes, and I have talked to the project manager for Correct Life, and they do have that on hold right now, and it's due to the construction cost and also the ability to get construction workers
Yeah.
at this time. So I have been in contact with them, actually just a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
If I may, there was a planned pause. They needed to do the dirt work, and then they wanted winter to allow all that to settle, so that they'd be prepared to do the construction. And then we had the increase in the construction costs. The number that I got, and I got this actually third hand, I got it, one person removed, was it was gonna add somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 to their construction costs. If they had bought in April or May, which was the time frame they were looking to buy their construction materials, and then as well as the staffing that they were having trouble with so they, there was a planned delay, and then,
Getting this stuff too, a lot of that
yeah.
product.
And if they had bought when they had planned to buy, they were gonna add almost $500,000 to their costs. So.
But they do still plan on moving forward with it,
Oh,
I'm sure.
absolutely,
Yep.
yes.
Cool.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions for Tamara?
So several years ago, you obtained several welding simulators.
Mm-hmm,
And I think you ran several classes.
yes.
Are they still
So-
viable or?
So we do still have the welders. I have been in conversation with CWeb about them gifting those to us at the chamber, because those do belong to the CWeb, or the Missouri Job Center, if you will.
Okay.
So we're in conversations with that, and then also I have been in conversation with one of our local manufacturers that would be able to assist us with doing some of that training.
Okay.
So,
So is there, maybe like talk to the high school for a shop class? I don't know. It's just, to me,
Possibly.
welding.
and we need
is
welders, yes.
important.
I want to
Yes.
learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need people that have just some skill sets, period.
Okay.
So yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
On,
ma'am.
on that note, there's the pipe fitters union has a thing over here in the industrial park,
Mhm.
and they may do something similar too. They may have some people available to teach welding.
Yeah, and so that's a good idea. I'll check into
Yeah,
that.
that's
Yeah.
good.
I think they've done that in the
Good
past.
thought there.
I
Guy
have
used
been
to
out-
work at the plant, but he's not there anymore. But
I have been out there to tour that, and, you know, as a union facility, they, I guess, sponsor people to come in to do the classes there, but maybe one would be interested in coming to do the class at our place.
Sure.
Any other questions?
Mark Foley.
What?
Mark Foley's the gentleman you need to speak to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tamara.
All right.
You did a great
Thank
job.
you. Thank you.
Always. All righty, we'll move on to council concerns. I'll start to my right, Councilwoman Nelson.
Oh, I thought you started with me last time.
Did I? I'm sorry. I'm picking on you.
In fact, I think that you were directed to start with me last time,
yeah,
so.
I'm sorry. I'm losing
No.
track. Go ahead.
I do have one thing. It was brought to my attention that maybe we have some electrical problems out at the city pool. Maybe there's a something that's going on out there. We're fabricating some shirts maybe for swim meets, and where we're doing that, there was some electrical issues that maybe were a little dangerous that haven't been addressed.
Don't know. We'll look into it. Sounds like I see some raised eyebrows, so we will look into that. Thank you.
That's all.
All right. Councilman Washington,
None at this time.
Councilman Combs.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring up, kind of as a thank you, mostly to our firemen, but also I know the other emergency personnel in town that we have. A neighbor of mine woke up on Saturday with her house 90 degrees inside, and 4 of the firemen stopped by and helped her install a window unit to help get her house down. And I didn't know that they did that, and I talked to one of them today, and he said it's not something that they frequently do, but it was really trying to take care of somebody, kind of going above and beyond what their normal job would be.
Very nice.
City with a heart right there, guys.
Yep.
Thank you all. Thank you, Alan, for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Councilman Braun.
Only because I've had to take a different way to work over the last month and a half or so, and
Life is tough.
probably for a couple more months. I noticed a sign that's right on Tennyson Road, right close to our fire station, that our fire truck on that sign looks like total. Looks like the fire truck's fading away into nothing. And I was wondering if we couldn't maybe do something about the sign.
We'll check on that.
And it's the one that's heading, when you're heading east.
That's the billboard, the street
No,
sign?
it's just a informational street sign that's got the little fire truck on it.
Oh.
The yellow sign with the fire.
But
Okay.
it's our sign, and it
Okay.
looks kind of rough, quite
All right.
faded.
All righty.
And that's it.
Okay. Councilman Stone?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, 2 things. The Second Street Improvement Project, the gravel has caused a large amount of dust and continual dust problems for that neighborhood, for the residents, and for the folks that are transversing it. I know the fire department went out, I believe, on Friday and wet down part of the street, but not all of the street. And then I'd reached out to Mr. Johnson, and I'm not sure if you were able to have somebody go back out Sunday. But I don't know if there's a different solution. I know there's the spray that people put on rural routes, on gravel roads, or if there's just something that can be done, but it's causing a lot of concern with the residents in that area.
Kyle's not here tonight, but the crews did go down there today and spread some calcium, whatever dust, calcium chloride on this
Okay.
afternoon, so it should help.
Okay, thank you. Where should citizens direct,
Us.
just call city?
Hopefully
Well, I
they'll-
mean, they're reaching out to me, I'm reaching out to
Call
you
me.
all,
Call
but,
me.
okay. I just want to make sure that they have a direct line to whoever needs to hear it. And then I'll share that we put the stuff down
Yeah.
to help with the dust.
And what's sort of the timeline you think on, and I'm sorry, Kyle's not here, but
Oh, we
on
wanna-
getting like at least asphalt patched back?
Well, and And Kyle does plan on doing an asphalt patch, but we need a couple of rains to help settle those trenches so that once we patch them back with asphalt, they don't keep settling. So once we get a couple of rains, so probably in the next 60 days, we'll get the rains and they'll get in there and they'll dig out like 4 inches of rock and go back in with asphalt.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson,
It'd be
is that
painful.
something that could be, until that is done?
It needs to settle.
I'm saying, until that is done, is that something, if they can spray like maybe 3 times, maybe like once a week or once, I'm just saying that because it's gonna happen
We'll check on the
again.
amount of dust that's coming up.
Yeah,
I was out in Grover today, and it must have been after they put the calcium on, because I noticed it was kind of rough, but I didn't really notice too much dust coming up later this afternoon.
It was bad at the beginning, but it's gotten, our business sits right there on the corner of,
Oh, yeah.
Mocane Road and 2nd Street. So we see everything firsthand, and it's gotten way better.
Good.
I'd say 75%.
now, is that something that can be handled with cooking oil, that people, seem like in the past that they used to put cooking oil on the
I
roads?
don't, Bob, I don't know.
Okay, I would just, seem like I remember someone mentioned that,
That may not.
they go and,
That might work for a private person, but start worrying about the DEA. I just gotta believe that there's some things that tell
Might
us.
make it
no, we
slick,
can't.
too.
It's hot enough right now.
That's what
You
I'm
take that
saying.
cooking
Then when
oil
it
out
rains,
there and
it's
you
gonna
fry
be
an
like
egg.
slick.
Frying it.
educate.
So what they
Yeah.
put on there today will last.
French
for
fries.
years.
And then,
It's
Mr.
just
Mayor, I
like-
just
Oh,
had
is that
one,
right?
Yeah.
I wanted myself and then the city council to give a public thank you to Ryan Boland, who
Yeah.
functioned as our editor from the Fulton Sun. He did an excellent job. He did a great service of reporting on the city council. There was an article, I believe, after every single city council meeting or prior to keep the citizens informed of what we were doing. I think he did a great job for us.
Yeah.
I agree.
And that's a good point for those watching. We do post our meeting minutes on our city website for those that don't hear what happened at the council meeting or maybe can't view them, but they are available. Thank you.
Thank
All right, moving on. Councilman Simmons? No, and Councilman West.
Okay. I've had
Oh,
some, yes.
Multiple pages.
I'm gonna summarize it, because I'm not gonna read this whole thing. But this is from one individual, but I've heard from several people in the neighborhood on Clevewood. And I'll give you the exact address outside the meeting. But it's a home that's been turned into a rental property. It's got several people living there, probably more than there should be. Of course, I don't know if there's a limit on something like that. The neighbors have reached out to the owners and to the renters and gotten no satisfaction. When I drove by there on the way up here tonight, and there were 4 vehicles on the street, 2 of them nearly blocking the driveway, 2 in the driveway. One of the vehicles, there are a lot of out-of-state plates, which, that's fine, but vehicles with flat tires sitting on the street, parts around. One of the allegations is there's an auto body shop being run out of the garage. It's a single-car garage, so I kind of wonder about that. A lot of trespass going on, people not taking care of the growth of the property and that sort of thing. And I think there's several different departments that need to take a look at this property, and I think the address.
We've looked at it many times. We have gone up there. They do have some yard issues.
Mm-hmm.
If the cars are on the street with flat tires,
Right.
that could be an issue. But if a car's on the street licensed, there's nothing we can do.
I know, I agree, yeah.
We've been up there, I think, numerous times.
Yeah.
We've been up there numerous times, driving by, stopped in, and it's,
I don't know whether we want to reach out to the owners and ask them to,
the owner has made it very clear that as long as they pay their rent, I'm gonna keep taking it.
Understood. So there's not a lot that can be done. Which is, when I read the issues, some of the issues, I'm like, I don't know what to do.
I am not
And
disagreeing with any of the items you stated.
It's kind of a nuisance more than anything else, and I'm not sure what can be done. But, okay, that's all I had.
Mr.
Thank you.
Mayor, can we come back to, I do want to make a statement, since I made it the last meeting, that I failed to apply for a permit. When I looked into it, the owners the people who were putting the sign had a permit. So
Wow. Thanks for clearing that up, man. We were all worried to death about it.
Most of the local sign companies are aware of the Fulton.
Yeah.
I was losing sleep about that.
Just the
other night.
council bit.
I have one more thing too. I've heard a lot of people talking about this facility that's going on, being built out on HH. And I'm sure that everybody else has also,
Oh, the asphalt.
yes,
Okay.
has also, there is nothing though that we can accomplish within the city, correct?
There's nothing we can do.
No.
Okay. I just want to make sure I am directing people to the county. Is that appropriate?
That is very appropriate, and I really don't think there's anything the county can do.
Okay. I mean, that's why
surrounded with
I've
golf
spoken with our commissioners as well, and, I'm just trying to make sure everybody gets the information as best as I can, so that's where I'm directing it.
Yeah, it's not our problem.
So, I've
Maybe
just
our
heard a
problem
lot.
is not when we
I've
do
heard a
that.
lot.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting, so, all right. We'll move on to ordinances. First read, if you would, Councilwoman Nelson, bill number 1621.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Bill number 1621, an ordinance amending Appendix A, zoning section 13A, 1B, Fulton City Code by repealing certain legislations and enacting new legislation in lieu thereof. I make a motion to place bill number 1621 for second reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, and that's just basically doing what
Dennis
told
went
us
through this,
about.
ordinance quite in detail last council meeting. He's off on vacation now, but, basically, we're gonna raise the rate to do a rezoning to $300, which is gonna compensate us for everything we were doing anyway. We were originally requiring the property owner to do a lot of work. And now
That they really weren't qualified to do.
We had to check it all anyway, so now we're just gonna do this and we'll do the work.
All righty. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. All right, we'll try to read that again next meeting. Announcements, our next council meeting will be held Tuesday, August 10th. Work session will commence at 6:30 with regular session to follow at 7. And that's all we got, folks.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Thank you all.